Hello, welcome back to my channel. Please subscribe to my channel, like my videos, and please check out my channel for other updates. So the last update about Twist of Fate, Rhea falls down from the balcony and put the blame on Prachi, and Rambo again suspect that Prachi is hiding something from him, and him and Prachi later fight about it. Let's continue. Aliyah was shouting Prachi, accusing her of pushing Rhea from the balcony. They make Rhea sit on the sofa. Vikram asks Rambo to call the doctor. Aliyah asks if she is fine. Rhea says her hand is broken and tells her that she is feeling dizzy and her body is paining her. Rambo says that the doctor is on the way. Aliyah says, how did you fall down? Rhea says she stood close to the balcony and she fell down with the railings. Grandma says, how can this be possible? Aliyah says I was right and she shouted calling Prachi. Rambo asks, why are you calling Prachi? Aliyah says you people have to do something about Prachi. They stay in the same house and says how can Rhea live in danger? Pallavi asks, what do you want to say? Aliyah says Prachi wants to kill Rhea. Grandma says Aliyah has started again. Rambo asks Rhea not to say it again and says I know you are stressed. Rhea asks why? Because Prachi's name came. She says I can manage the pain and I will not die. But what if everyone close there die? And Rambo asks to ignore, then I will die. She asks Aliyah to call the police and tell them that someone was trying to murder her. Pallavi says we shouldn't call the police. Grandma says yes. Vikram says we should talk. Rambo says it was an accident and even the police will say this. Aliyah asks why are you ignoring everything and asks what do you want? Do you want the police to come when Rhea dies? Pallavi asks that what is Aliyah saying? Aliyah says she is saying what Rhea had said in the warehouse. Prachi tries to kill Rhea and Nick had said that Prachi had hired him to kill Rhea. Then also you feel that Prachi is helpless and you people are giving a chance to Prachi to attack Rhea until she dies. Aliyah says if you don't believe me, then I will do what is good for Rhea. She says she is my responsibility and I will do what is right for her. You people might think about your reputation, but I will not. She is about to call the police. Rambo takes the phone in Aliyah's hand. Shahana comes there. Rambo says I don't want the police to come. Aliyah says call Prachi here and says she knows that Rhea is having the childhood habit that she stands close to the window. She says I am sure that she did something with the railings so that Rhea falls down from it. Shahana asks really and asks do you think that Prachi has done this and she doesn't have any work to do and she keeps an eye on Rhea's every move and she make lists and think of what to do with Rhea. Shahana says you people think that Prachi always think about bringing Rambo closer to her. Then when did she think about Rhea? Shahana says when did Prachi think to do something with the railings to make Rhea fall? She asks Aliyah to think what she wants. Pallavi says she has called the police and they are coming. Rambo asks what did you do? Pallavi says Aliyah is right. Nick told us that Prachi wants to kill Rhea and she had hired him. Rambo says Prachi did not hire Nick. Pallavi says then who is the real culprit? She says you are overreacting to protect Prachi. Aliyah asks why did Nick have to take Prachi's name? Rambo says I just know that Prachi cannot do this. Vikram asks Rambo to relax and says we cannot stress him. He asks Pallavi to stop the police and says the two sisters' fight is in the house always. Aliyah says if this is the case, then I have to complain against all the family members that they all want to kill Rhea. Shahana says all the family members want to kill Rhea and asks Aliyah to ask Rhea what she had done. She says when you have decided, then why are you acting to call the police? Give her the punishment instead. Shahana says to Aliyah that you will blame Prachi always, even if the mirror is broken. She says Prachi regards Rhea as her sister and she will not attempt to kill her. Rhea asks Shahana to stop it and says neither I regard her as my sister, nor do I regard her. She calls me a second wife, a legal second wife. Rhea says when a second wife is illegal, then the ways to make her leave from the house might be illegal too. Prachi comes home and thinks to go home directly. She thinks that nobody should see her. Rhea says at least my aunt takes care of me and supports me and she loves me like a mother. Rhea says my real sister is doing an enemy's work and that is why my aunt felt bad. Pallavi asks Rhea and says this is not like that. We all are with you. She says I know we cannot love you like Aliyah, but we all love you a lot. Pallavi says to Rhea that Vikram, Grandma and Rambo loves you a lot and you are part of our family and we would always love you. Pallavi says to Rhea that this is your family and you are my daughter-in-law and Rambo's wife. Rambo asks Pallavi that don't bring me into this matter and I don't want you to talk about my marital state. He says, I am tired of listening to this, and asks if I am a husband or a nameplate. I don't have any energy to listen or react. The inspector comes there and asks who is Pallavi here. Pallavi says she is Pallavi and tells the inspector that her daughter-in-law was attacked and someone tries to murder her. Rhea says it is a small misunderstanding. Rhea says everyone got a misunderstanding as 2 days back I was attacked and the attacker took Prachi's name. And today I fell down again from the balcony and we think that I was attacked again. Aliyah takes the inspector to the balcony with Rhea and tells him about Rhea's childhood habit to stand close to the balcony. She says someone might have pushed her or did something with the railings. Shahana says Rhea and Prachi doesn't mingle. They have fight often. Aliyah says that the attacker told us that Prachi had hired him to attack Rhea. The inspector asks, did you file the FIR? Rhea says no. We cannot trust any goon. The inspector asks, who are you? Rhea says he is my husband, Prachi. Prachi comes there and asks what is happening. Aliyah says she is Prachi. Prachi asks if they are talking about her. Shahana asks Prachi to go and rest. Rhea says why would she go? Shahana says you have said that she is not part of the family, so it doesn't matter if she stays here. She needs to rest now. Rhea says Shahana should go and not Prachi. Prachi says it is okay, Shahana. Shahana says the family drama also. If something happens to Rhea, the police is called. Prachi asks Grandma what happened. Rhea says the police came as you tried to kill me. Aliyah says Rhea doesn't know, but it strikes me what happened with her. Prachi asks what happened with your Rhea. She looks at her. Aliyah looks at the tools bag kept there. The inspector gets the screw and tells that the doubt is not wrong. Someone had loosened the nut bolt of the balcony. He says it is proof that someone did this intentionally to harm Rhea. Rhea says what is happening in my life? I am not safe in my own house with my husband. She says what kind of life I am in. Rhea says I don't think so, that someone did this deliberately. The inspector shows the screws. Rhea says Prachi has done this to kill me. Prachi says what nonsense, I haven't done anything. The inspector asks Prachi that where is your room? We will check your room. Prachi asks him to come. Vikram asks Pallavi how she can get this happen just because a criminal like Nick took Prachi's name. Pallavi asks Vikram if he cannot see Prachi's real face really. She says until I expose her, I will not sit in peace. Shahana says to Pallavi that let Rhea be your daughter-in-law. You really deserve her. Aliyah asks Pallavi not to talk to small people like Shahana. The inspector says that if Prachi is guilty, then they will get proofs against her in the room. The lady constable finds the tools in the bag. Aliyah smiles and looks at Rhea. She recalls pretending to cough and then taking the tools back and hiding it in Prachi's cupboard. The flashback ends. She smirks. The inspector says the screws were loosened with the tool. Shahana asks, are you joking? The inspector asks, what is the toolbox doing in the girl's room? Rhea says now everyone must have understood that Prachi had loosened the screws and then went out so that she acted to be innocent. She blames Prachi. Prachi asks Rhea not to blame her and says she cannot bear it anymore. Rhea says I cannot bear you now. You tried to kill me twice. Rhea says the problems increased on Mahashivranti night as she couldn't bear to see Rambru and I moving on in our relationship, and her hatred increased and she thought to kill me. Rhea tells the inspector that Prachi tried to kill me through Nick and now through the balcony and says I have made up my mind and I want to file a case against Prachi. Rhea asks the inspector to file a case against Prachi and arrest her. Rambru tells the inspector that he can do the legal formalities, but they should not do this as Rhea said. He said Prachi can never harm anyone, though she can get angry and fight. He says if I tell you that she loosened the screws for me as I stayed there. Prachi asks, do you think that I can do this for you? Rambru says no and says nothing happens with my thought. I used to think that we have much between us, but it is not like that. Rhea says I have fallen down and I want to file the case. Rambru asks the inspector not to file the case. The inspector asks Rambru, Prachi and Rhea to come to the police station. Pallavi says you cannot take my son. Vikram asks, shall I call the lawyer? The inspector says no, he just wants to get the paperwork done. He is not arresting anyone now. Rambru, Prachi and Rhea comes to the police station. Rambru sits with Prachi. Rhea gets upset and sits between them. She says my hand is paining. It seems I have to show my hand to the doctor. Rambru says I will do something. He goes. Rhea says I did not complain about you. I just said that my hand is paining me as I fell down from the first floor. Rhea asks Prachi if she is feeling strange and says she is feeling strange for coming there for the first time and tells Prachi that she is habitual to coming to the police station. Prachi asks Rhea to be quiet. Rhea asks Prachi to shut up and says if I stay quiet, then how will Rambro see my pain? Prachi says to Rhea that how can you shed fake tears when you are not hurt? Rhea says she is hurt. Prachi says how can she shed fake tears when she is not hurt and asks her to wake up from her illusion. She says we should stay away from illusion and says reality is that you are coming between Rambro and me and says even if we are not together, then also you cannot break our relationship. Rambro comes back and says come with me. Prachi get up, but Rambro asks Rhea to come. Rhea get up. Prachi gives her hand to help her and also Rambro gives his hand. Rhea holds his hand and looks at Prachi and him. Rhea asks Rambro to make Prachi feel jealous and she smiles. Rambro is uncomfortable and he looks at Prachi. Prachi looks on with a teary eyes. A song plays in the background. Rambro takes Rhea away from there. Shahana comes to the police station and asks that where is Rambro. Aliyah also comes there. Shahana asks that where is Rhea and Rambro and why are you crying? Prachi says she is sad. Aliyah asks that where is Rhea. The inspector says that Rambro took Rhea to the doctor of the police station. Rhea thinks that she asked Rambro to call the doctor to gain his sympathy, but he brought her to the real doctor. She thinks of what to do. Aliyah comes there and asks Rambro to go out as she is with Rhea. Rambro says if there's anything serious, then we will show her to our family doctor. Rhea says she is fine. Aliyah asks Rambro to go out and undo Prachi as she is crying. Rhea thanks Aliyah for being the lifesaver. The doctor says to Rhea that I have checked you, but there is no sign of any injury. You are mentally and physically fine. Rhea says when I move my hand, then I feel pain. The doctor says you are fine. Rhea asks the doctor to bandage her hand. Aliyah offers the doctor money. Prachi tells Shahana that she was not at home when Rhea had fallen down. She says I had gone through the back door and nobody saw me going and returning. She says she cannot tell Rambro that she has gone to the gynecologist. She says whenever I see them together, I don't want to tell Rambro anything. Rambro says I know everything. What did you think that you will hide from me? Prachi is shocked. Grandma thinks that there is mattress on the floor, so Rhea had fallen on it. Pallavi comes there and asks Grandma to tell Vikram that she has overreacted on the situation. Grandma says you have gone with Aliyah. Pallavi says I have come to change my slippers, but Vikram told me that we shouldn't support Rhea. She says she will not give benefit of doubt to Prachi and says none of us will feel safe if Prachi is here. She says she wants the police to arrest Prachi and keep her in jail for years so that we can stay safe in our house. Pallavi says I am going there to make sure that the inspector doesn't leave Prachi. Grandma thinks that if Pallavi goes there, then the inspector might come in her talks and they would arrest Prachi. She acts to be hurt and asks Pallavi to take her to the room. Prachi asks Rambro, what do you know? Rambro asks what happened if I come to know anything. He asks why are you so scared and asks her to relax and says I don't know what you are hiding, but I know that you are hiding something and that is why you are scared. Rambro tells Shahana that he will not ask her as Prachi might have made you swear not to tell me and says I will know it and it is 110% sure that it is related to me. He says if you plan to hide this, then hide this properly, and if I come to know about this and I feel that I should have known this before, then I cannot forgive you and I cannot forgive anyone. Aliyah brings Rhea out of the room and asks Rambro to ask the inspector to do the formalities before and tells him that she is feeling pain. Prachi asks that what are we waiting for? The inspector says we are waiting for Rhea. He says we have searched in Prachi's room and we found the toolbox. Rambro says that Rhea said that Prachi wants to harm her. Rhea shouted and says she wants to kill me. The inspector asks Rhea to calm down and says if Prachi really wants to kill Rhea, then she should have planned big. Nobody dies from the first floor. Rhea demands the inspector to arrest Prachi. Aliyah also asks the inspector to arrest Prachi immediately. Alright, thank you so much for watching my videos. Please don't forget to like this video. Please share it and subscribe to my channel for more updates. Thank you.